Right, you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Alright, hello and welcome back to Tripod Talk, the official podcast of What Pictures, where we talk anything and everything about films. My name's Matt Lidster, I'm your host, and to my left, which we're back to normal. Yeah, I just realised.
Yeah.
Is a Dylan Moore.
Ah, yeah.
He's a hard boy. And to my to my right.
Alright, well, let's go. Let's see where he's going with this.
No, be careful.
It's a soft girl.
Okay.
It's soft girl.
Aye.
Yeah. We are Tripod Talk. Well, we are What Pictures in Tripod Talk, and we're talking about Moonlight.
Hey.
Because there was no film we wanted to see in the cinema this week.
Well, there's
So-
a film I wanted to see, but none of you would go and watch Coco. So
Well, we just thought no one would give a
you're probably right, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah,
What
but
should
well,
I say? Well, we thought we'd do a thing instead because there wasn't a particular film we wanted to see that we'd go back kind of year by year in the Oscar Best Pictures winners, kind of like our little like award season thing we're doing, and
Yeah.
just talk about what films won in the past, what we thought of them, look at the other films that came out that year, and whether we would have kind of think anyone else was a more deserving winner, everything like that.
yeah. I'm looking forward to making this his own little series where we keep going back every year.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm wondering in my head already, are we going to end up in like 1951? It
Depends how long this keeps
Yeah,
going.
exactly. Yeah. We'll end up in like 2013 and just fail miserably.
So how you been?
I've been good.
I know, we've seen each other before. This is fine.
We have just watched it, so we've got no excuse again. It's very fresh.
Oh, yeah.
Although we did,
yeah.
can we use the same excuse we did last time, which is we haven't had time to digest it properly?
Yeah, because I feel like we could have gone away and thought about it a bit
It's the
more.
second time I've watched it though, so I've got a bit more of a
Yeah.
Was it
perspective
better
on
the
it.
second time round?
I think that's one of those films where you have to be in the right kind of emotional place for it really to hit with you. And like, I think the first time around I was in more like that, and I was also
Yeah.
I watched it by myself, which I think this might be one of those films that's actually better off watching. No offense to this isn't like a shot
Oh yeah, no.
at you guys, but I just think you can be a bit more open with it if you're sat by yourself watching it rather than sat with other people.
Yeah, because there's certain points that I couldn't help say something at the TV.
But and as well, like you feel a bit embarrassed trying to like actually getting really into it when you sat with other people. Whereas if you're by yourself, you can just be like, right, this is just I'm getting into this. This is it now.
I find that process easier when we're at the cinema because I'm like, this is it. It's darkness around me. It's just me in this film. Yes.
I've seen you looking emotional at films.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. But anyway, we'll go on to Moonlight later. I believe people have some film news.
Yes.
Does anybody want to kick us off?
Go
Because
for it.
I have
Yeah.
one piece of film news, but if you want to go ahead.
I'm going to go first because usually other people take my film news and it feels like I've not done anything.
Yeah, that's
so,
All right.
first one,
That's what
Peter
she says.
Rabbit. Hey.
Go on.
Hey.
Peter Rabbit film criticised for depicting allergy bullying.
Allergy bullying.
There's a scene in which rabbits attack a man with blackberries knowing he's allergic to them, and it's condemned as dangerous. The new Peter Rabbit film is facing a boycott over a scene in which a gang of bunnies attack a man with blackberries knowing he's allergic. Several groups representing allergy sufferers have condemned the scene, prompting the hashtag boycott Peter Rabbit on social media.
Well,
I think
I mean, just the sentence alone saying a group of bunnies are throwing blackberries at a guy is one of the most ridiculous things I've heard in film news. to
It
be
says here that they've created a petition asking distributor Sony Pictures to apologise, saying the film mocks the seriousness of allergic disease and is heartbreakingly disrespectful to the families of those that have lost loved ones.
The thing is, I can sympathise a bit, to be honest. I mean, it's part of the whole bigger discussion about, like, violence in films and how affected people are by it.
Yeah.
And I suppose, like, if you are a kid watching Peter Rabbit and it's Peter Rabbit doing it, it is minimising the danger of allergy. So
Yeah.
actually, like, this is something I never do, I'm going to side with the complainers and I'm going to say, like,
All right.
I really think maybe at some point they should have been, when they're making that film, thought this scene isn't really pushing anything we think is good or healthy to push. Because I know they're cartoons and it's not real, and most by like the vast majority of people aren't going to copy, but there's also kids, they're much more impressionable, and it's not vital to the film. Why not just skip that? Why not just do something a bit better that doesn't have as direct real world implications?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Because
They
you
could
could
have just
be
like
6.
thrown anything else.
Yeah, like if you're 6 and you're told by your mum that be careful with this kid at school because they're allergic to milk or whatever, and you've just seen someone chucking blackberries, you're gonna douse them with milk.
Yeah.
you're gonna like put a 6-year-old in an epileptic fit. So I can see where they're coming from actually.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah,
there you
it's
go.
a good point. I still think it's a bit ridiculous.
Well, I think it's part of the whole bigger discussion about like when you go and watch a film, just is understand that it's a film and you're not gonna like, you know, the whole violence thing and swearing and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like that's where kind of the emphasis goes on the parent or whoever's taking the kid to watch the film, just to be like set them some basic values in place that they know what works and what doesn't.
That's very good.
Yeah.
There we go. There.
All right, we'll move on from there.
Yeah, there's just a couple of little bits. Andrew Garfield has opened up about his sexuality recently, saying that while he identifies as heterosexual, he always has an openness to any impulses that may arise at any time. And he says, up until this point, I've only been sexually attracted to women. My stance towards life, though, is that I always try to surrender to the mystery of not being in charge.
All right.
Interesting.
I don't know whether I like him.
And you like Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, but then he cheated on Emma Stone.
Did he? Is
Oh,
this
you
what we're going to get into? Who with?
Just some random girl when he was like away somewhere. Still, bit scummy thing.
Yeah, but you like Emma Roberts, and she beat on Evan Peters.
She beat on Evan?
She beat him up.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What is going on? I
then
don't
they got back
pay
together.
attention to these. I think these guys, I don't know, these seem like dull to like 20-somethings and instead they got like, fair enough, that's a surprise.
And you like John Cena, and he cheated on his ex-girlfriend.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
can't.
just because it's Emma Stone and he's got a bit of a soft place.
No,
for
well,
him.
no, I like Andrew
It's not
Garfield
very
as
soft.
well. Like, I like them.
Absolutely could not miss that. Sorry, go on.
No.
Tell us about your hard place.
Please don't.
No. Yeah, I like the stuff that he's in. Like, I don't know him. You know, good for him. Go and be sexual with people. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't know
Move
why.
on then,
I don't know
Jesus.
why that's.
Yeah, I
You're
don't
getting
know
so annoyed. You can keep your G.I. Joes. For those of us of a certain age, Action Man was the eagle-eyed, multi-outfitted military.
Is this a tongue twister?
Basically, there's going to be an Action Man film.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they've never done one sooner. It sounds like a proper
I don't
80s
think kids
film,
give
doesn't
a
it?
crap anymore, to be honest.
Oh,
Action Man
yeah.
isn't really something relevant. I don't know. Like, they need to make like a Wii game, or not like a Wii, like a Switch game or something first, and then try and get the kids into it. I can't imagine that'll do too well.
Well,
It's worth a pun.
And
yeah, no, that definitely seems like a proper 80s film.
yeah,
I
I know.
I suppose they had action people in themselves, never mind.
I just think with
action,
ideas
but-
like that, like it's all just about who they get to make it and who they get in the cast, and like, are they going to take it in an interesting direction? And like, you know, Action Man, you could do something real fun and interesting with that.
Go on
Well,
then,
it could be
pitch me.
me making an Action Man film.
Yeah.
Well, when did Action Man first come out?
I have no idea.
I mean, if I were to do it, it'd get real dark, and I'd do something like Action Man was in, say, Vietnam, and he was some incredible soldier, and then he comes back, and it's like PTSD Action Man, and he's trying to find his place in society. And then there's like, I don't know, maybe not even that. Maybe he gets sent home because he's injured and he can't find a place, and then he gets to go back to war. And then the end of the film's back with Action Man at home and trying to find his place in the world. And I'd go in that whole direction. I mean, I wouldn't by any means, but that'd be a funny thing to do with it.
All right, self.
Pitch an Action Man
No,
film.
not a chance.
See, the first thing that came into my head was more kind of like a Die Hard. So it's like, you know, trapped in this building, and you got to try and get everyone out, but you also got to be the hero as well. That'd be the Action Man.
So we're not going to be going watching this film then.
No.
Maybe.
Yeah, it depends. Well, maybe if the cast
See
are
what
all
they do.
great. Depends. I'd be interested who see the cast.
Speaking of casting, this
Oh,
is a very
Segue.
This is
I
a
love
very,
a good segue.
reoccurring thing each week. But there's another announcement of a film called Red Notice with Dwayne Johnson that's going to be coming out later this year.
He's in everything now.
He's your boy though.
I know.
I
To be fair-
told you, you'd get fatigued. People are gonna get. He's gonna blow his shot because he's gonna just do too much and be too prevalent.
Yeah.
I think he needs to pull back a bit.
See, I watched that, what was it called? Skyscraper?
The trailer,
Trailer?
yeah,
I thought it was alright.
it might be
It's-
fine, but it's a trailer as well, so
I didn't-
you're pretty much seeing that film as it's gonna be, just with another hour and a half of extra stuff in there. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing with those kind of trailers to me. It's just kind of like, is the whole film in there? That's what actually,
Yeah,
just
pretty
speaking
much.
of that video we were just watching, like the people complaining about the Venom trailer, saying you don't actually see him as Venom.
Oh, yeah.
In my eyes, that's a totally very good thing because especially with it only being a teaser trailer, like I think we're giving up too much stuff too early, and it detracts from the actual film and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we go in a direction where there's less, films just come out with less marketing type stuff, or if you are going to market, do it interesting, do it like Deadpool or something, and go in different directions with it. But there's too much just route one, teaser trailer, second teaser trailer, third teaser trailer, full trailer, second full trailer, bunch of behind the scenes footage, and it's like you've seen 40 minutes of footage before the film comes out.
Speaking of Deadpool, going back into that, another teaser trailer just came out for Deadpool 2. Have you seen it yet?
Nope. Sorry. It's still going to be my answers. I'm still repping the no trailer lifestyle.
Fair enough. You've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't really have that much of an opinion on it, though.
Did it not stick out with you?
I thought it did, just because they're still sticking with obviously because it's Deadpool, but quite the meta thing. Cable comes out, and he's still got like a green screen arm, and he's like, whoa, and he like stops the trailer, and he's like talking about this thing, and then he kind of comes back, and then it's got the CGI in it. So.
It just feels like they're trying a bit too hard to be funny.
That can be a real problem sometimes. I think, especially when you get meta, and it's like, we get that this is a clever concept, but you can only push it so far. Don't try and do something too revolutionary, because sometimes it can just be irritating.
I'm just thinking of the filmmaker's guide that we've been writing.
Yeah, it's fine. No, because that's
good though.
That's demonstratory, isn't it? Yeah, we're making a point.
Sorry, Sophie.
Last two things. Game of Thrones creators to write and produce new series of Star Wars films.
That was my news.
Sorry,
Is that your one story?
That was my one.
We could have guessed, really.
Yes, I am. I told my dad about this because I'm very excited about it.
You are excited?
Yeah.
Oh,
the people who wrote
right.
Game of Thrones, or like the whole series
creators.
for it, are going to be doing a whole Star Wars thing. That's amazing.
I did see a tweet recently though that said is there anybody left in Hollywood who hasn't written or directed a Star Wars film or isn't about to? Like, they are spreading their wings out, but it's a different skill doing a TV show like Game of Thrones to a big thing like Star Wars, but
it's still a series.
Is it going to do a Star Wars series?
Yeah,
and to be fair, they've dealt with like Game of Thrones has such huge expectation. Every no one said like, oh, that season didn't meet my expectations, and I'm not as high on Game of Thrones as everyone else is, but to be fair to the guys, they clearly can meet and exceed people's expectations.
Yeah.
So which is why I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah,
like you can't imagine them just totally crapping the bed.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was the last piece of news, Soph.
Just a tiniest bit. William Dafoe will be receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award. Well, the Berlin Lifetime Achievement Award.
I'm glad for that. Right. He's an interesting one, actually, like, career-wise. I'm sure he was in some, like, experimental theatre for, like, 10 years before he ever did a film, and he's had, like, a super strange pathway. He's done a load of art films, so I like Willem Dafoe. I have one piece of film news, which is something we spoke about in the week, actually, which is that Todd Phillips, I didn't even know about this film, I don't know if you guys did, they're doing a DC Origins movie. There's a guy called Todd Phillips directing it, and they're saying that Joaquin Phoenix has agreed to play the Joker in it, which I love Joaquin Phoenix, and I think he does crazy really well, and he does subtle crazy really well, so I think it'd be really interesting, like, it's going to be a bit of a palate cleanser from the Jared Leto thing, I think, because I like Jared Leto, and I know people who hate him, but I'm okay with him, but he clearly just, like, leaned into the, I'm going to be a weirdo, like, thing, and I just think the Joker is better when it's more just, genuine psychological damage and unpredictability. More mysterious
in a way,
and it's like the thing with the Dark Knight is like the whole film you're debating with yourself, does this guy have a plan? Because everything seems to be clearly everything's organised, but is it just pure chaos? And it's like, I think that side of the Joker's more interesting than just I'm batshit and gonna go about doing my thing. Yeah. So I'd be interested to see that come out.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially because he's not really been in that much high profile stuff.
Nope, he's been quiet. Although he's coming out in a film with Rooney Mara, I think that's going to come out soon, so that'll be interesting to see. There's one of those, that's kind of been in development for 3 or 4 years, so we'll see if that actually pans out as anything decent. But I think he's a really good actor, and I think he'll take it in a different direction, so I'm interested, I'm on board.
Yeah. I just feel a bit bad for Jared Leto. He put in so much stock into, being that crazy Joker and whatnot, and then when Suicide Squad came out, he got 10 minutes, and then it was just like...
Do you reckon there'll be more in Suicide Squad 2 then?
Are they? I didn't know there was doing one.
I saw there was talks of...
They probably are. I would not be surprised.
But yeah, and well, it's not really film news. I was going to show you a trailer, and I swear it's called I Feel Pretty, or something similar. And it's about... I can't remember the actress. But basically this woman's sick of how she looks because she's big and... she doesn't like anything about herself, and then she's running on the treadmill. That's the one.
Amy
What's her name?
Schumer.
Yeah, Amy Schumer, and she's running on a treadmill, and she falls and she smacks her head, and then when she wakes up, she thinks that she looks beautiful and amazing and stuff, and people are like, well, why can't she accept the fact that she's beautiful just because she's big, or whatever?
There's also a bunch of people, like girls, kind of on Twitter complaining about like she's a tiny step removed from Hollywood perfection.
Yeah.
She's still like an attractive woman, apparently. Sorry, I don't find it funny, and that kind of sours her for me. But and she's also an awful joke thief, like a sickeningly bad joke thief. There's like 20-minute videos on YouTube where they compare her stand-up to the original bits from other people, and it's completely damning. So that's my like actual reason. I'm not one of those because there's a lot of people on the internet that just don't like it because they're arseholes. Whereas I have a genuine reason for it because I'm very like moralistic about comedy.
Fair
But
enough.
it'd probably be trash. That's my opinion.
See, I'm really looking forward to it because I reckon it'd be like a feel-good thing for girls to go and watch.
Probably.
But at the same time, to sort of show that, oh, she had a smack on the head and now she feels all confident about herself. So it's got like massive backlash. I'll probably go and watch that on my own.
I feel like the moral of the story is it was like, it never had an effect, it was you the whole time. Blah, blah, blah.
That's probably what they
Maybe.
might try and do. Yeah, it's just all about confidence. Whatever.
But there was like a part in the trailer and with Anne Hathaway. And Anne Hathaway's like, oh, I feel so bad about myself, blah, blah, blah. And then she has a go at her saying, why have you got any reason to be insecure and stuff? And it sort of shows that just because she's skinny, she can't be insecure. So it's going to be a lot of problems with that. It's got Bradley Cooper in. No, it doesn't.
Okay, you just
no,
lied
it
to
doesn't.
us.
I did just lie.
Would have surprised me.
Because it came up related and then add
Oh,
and I thought it was the
okay,
cast.
yeah. I see.
Alright.
Guys.
Sorry, I'm going to have to blur that out as well. Thanks, Soph.
Sorry,
More
mate.
work for me. And no! Stop it!
Stop it, Soph.
No! Guys!
Sorry.
Yeah!
We're being cheeky. It's adorable.
Yeah. of
Oh,
course it
sorry, it wasn't Anne Hathaway either.
is. Oh my god.
Emily Ratajkowski.
Ratajkowski.
That's one.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, okay. She's a model.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway.
Fair enough.
Yeah, okay, I guess that rounds up film news
Yep.
this week. Do you want to go straight into talking about Moonlight?
Yep.
Sure.
Do you want me to give it a bit of context before we go into it, just off all this stat stuff I pulled off the internet?
Alright.
I've just done myself some Googling. So it came out in 2016. It had a budget of 1.5 to 4 million, Wikipedia reckons. And it's made 65 million at the box office, Wikipedia also reckons. So clearly very profitable. Although, to be fair, it's the second lowest domestic box office of any film to win Best Picture. Just Best Box.
Best box.
Best Box. It won it did win Best Picture. It also won Best Supporting Actor for Mahershala Ali, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And Best Adapted Screenplay out of 8 total nominations.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of revolutionary in that it was the first Best Picture winner with an all-black cast, first LGBT film to be one, the domestic thing, first black woman nominated for editing, first Muslim who won an acting award for Ali. And that's kind of just a bit of stuff about how it actually is positioned that year. And now we'll chat through it a bit and then we'll decide what you guys actually thought.
That's
Yes.
fantastic, but what was the film about, Soph?
Listen, I knew you were going to do that because I completely forgot the name of the main guy. Chiron?
Chiron.
Oh no.
Chiron.
Chiron. We're doing that. Yeah, Chiron. It follows a young boy who's growing up in a sort of, is it abusive house, I suppose?
Well, his mum,
It's not very supportive.
It's you don't learn too much. His mum's a drug addict, and she clearly doesn't spend much
Any
energy into. Yeah, and we learn kind of gradually about
his sexual,
Yeah.
his sexuality. And then you see it through 3 different blocks of him growing up, which I found out that the 3 actors never met on set.
Until after filming,
Yeah, because they wanted different versions of the character to be portrayed in different ways.
I thought that's really interesting. 'Cause
Exactly,
I thought, also more of the fact that they all seem to kind of link.
They did.
Like,
There was little,
really well.
Yeah, there was even little acting choices they all seem to have made, which must have been totally independent.
Yeah.
So it's just that they've attributed that to like the actors and the director just saying something about the script was so. These people, each of them was so real.
Yeah.
And kind of they must have just kind of like all clicked into the same like emotional level. But that's a kind of a little cool fact about it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just mainly about how he learns that people can love and support him the way that he is, despite his growing up with his family and people at school.
Yeah, that's a nice little summary.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other way to describe
Also,
it.
just disclaimer for anyone listening, and in case we do as well, just minor spoiler alert, because we might accidentally slip up on certain things.
Are we doing it on spoilery?
No, just in case we slip up, so
Okay.
we might talk about spoilers, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Alright.
We definitely will.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, just in case.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's move on.
Yeah. The fact it was all black cast as well, there was only 2 white people in the background at a rehab scene, and they asked the director about that because it was kind of like a curious thing that there wasn't like a teacher or anyone in the background. And he says that's because he never met a white person until he went to college.
Oh, wow.
And like obviously the kid's an amalgam of his life and a guy who wrote a book about 20 years earlier telling his kind of recollection. And it's a really personal kind of story to the director. Like the mum's based on his mum a lot.
Right.
Whereas the some of the other side of stuff, like the Kevin side of it, is based on the book more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an interesting amalgam of those 2 people's perspectives.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was originally a play actually, and they do it in the film as three like chapters almost, with the kid at about kind of very young, maybe like 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
And then about 15, 16, and then about maybe 30, maybe a bit younger.
Yeah.
But in the film, they all. I mean, in the play, they all happened concurrently, and it didn't actually clarify until about halfway through that they were all the same person. Do you think that'd be more interesting, or would you like it the way it is now?
I quite like it the way it is now.
Yeah.
There is always that aspect of like kind of clicking yourself that all these characters are linked, or finding out something for yourself that's not necessarily addressed. I always found really interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you much. This film, it leaves you to work things out, and it doesn't have everything conveniently provided to you at the beginning.
Yeah.
Stuff builds, and you discover stuff as you go along, and some stuff you pick up, some stuff you don't.
Yeah, because when it goes from like chapter 1 to chapter 2, which is when he grows up into like a teenager, like his name is specifically mentioned, so you're like, okay, that's definitely him.
Yeah.
Which I think I would have quite liked it to maybe leave that bit out, so you're like, okay, I'm assuming this is this guy.
Yeah.
I guess it was like a deliberate choice to do it in the 3 chapters.
But so, did you like the film altogether?
Yeah, I did.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good film. It was quite interesting. New side of life that I've not really seen before. Like completely different set of characters you wouldn't really like in films I don't usually watch anyway. So
yeah,
I
mean it's interesting. Like you talk about it being such a different experience to you guys. Naomi Harris, who played his mum, she's obviously like well-educated British woman, and this is a world that's she'd never understood anything. Like it was totally new to her. She had a month to prepare, and she says what she used a lot was YouTube. She'd go on YouTube and find documentaries about crack addiction in Miami in the 80s and stuff like that. And that was where she actually did a lot of her preparation, because she only had 3 days on set because of a visa issue. So all of her scenes were shot over 3 days. So that kind of compounded the way they had to do everything and made it. That's why it's kind of even more impressive how she got to that level.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think like the resources available to actors and writers and creators of any kind now is like there isn't really any excuses.
No.
Back in the day, you'd have no idea about that world unless you were around it or you talked to someone who was. Whereas now, everything's kind of at your fingerships, just right there on the internet.
Yeah.
I thought she did a marvellous job then.
Yeah, she was.
Especially like thinking about that as well.
Well, it's weird to think the last time you'd have seen is probably in Bond. I don't know if you guys have seen it, that she was like... Do you know in James Bond, the scene where he gets shaved by the woman in China or whatever? She's like, what's the name of the character? Moneypenny or something? She plays like, Moneypenny in the recent Bond films, and she's gone from that to like playing this part. Those are the things she's most known for. And it's kind of very impressive that she's clearly a real talented actress, and good play on her.
What was your opinion on the fact that the best actor was only in one of the chapters?
That's what I was going to say.
Best Bond actor,
it's a little bit of a spoiler. Mahershala Ali's character. I want to say that.
Just
sorry
Juan.
if it's wrong. He plays a character called Juan in the film. We'll refer to him as Juan.
It's almost worse.
But no, he got nominated and he won Best Supporting Actor. So when I watched this film, I was like, oh, so he's going to be in this film a lot. Again, spoiler alert. he doesn't make it past chapter 1, so he's only in the film for like the first third. And I thought, in comparison to the people who have won supporting actor before, when comparing it to Heath Ledger's Joker and Christian Bale's, I can't remember the name of the character, Dickie, I think it is, maybe.
Yeah.
In The Wrestler, they were in the whole film compared to him in this third. And I was a bit kind of like, oh.
It's not unprecedented, though. Have you seen A History of Violence? It's Viggo Mortensen plays in it. William Hurt, I think it's William Hurt. He got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor, and he was in that film for, I think, 13 minutes.
Bloody hell.
So you can't. The thing with Best Supporting Actor is if what you do is so distinctive and pivotal, I think, and so kind of you do get totally inhabit that person.
Yeah.
I think you can get away with it. Obviously, if it was lead, he wouldn't have hope. But I think there is that distinction with supporting actor, maybe, where you don't have to necessarily be in it as much. I mean, I could rail off the other nominees and see if you think any of them deserve it.
Please do.
So there was Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals, the Tom Ford film with Amy Adams. Him, Jeff Bridges for Hell or High Water, Dev Patel for Lion, and Lucas Hedges for Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, you like that guy, don't you?
Yeah, I told you. Oh, I didn't realise he was nominated. I called out him winning one, didn't I? But I didn't know he was nominated. But clearly I called it out. Great. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, though. What about... See, when I was watching his acting, this might sound a bit weird, but did you notice it was all his kind of work for me was done in his mouth? Did you notice the chewing and the way he like let his mouth set? And when he did like laugh, I don't know, I just thought it was real interesting how... I really did think he was great in it.
Yeah. He's also in...
he's very measured.
Luke Cage as well, and he's fantastic in that.
Yeah, he's in House of Cards. He's very good in everything, to be fair. Do you know, with him, actually, he didn't go to the BAFTAs for this film, because at the time then, Trump had the whole travel ban going on, and his wife was pregnant, and he was scared he wouldn't be able to get back into America. So just some random trivia. And, like, I guess at least we're not as worried about that kind of stuff now. We're just worried about getting nuked. But, yeah, that...
So, do you like the film overall? You're throwing all this trivia in.
I know, I'm just going randomly. I the first time I watched it, I really liked it. I did like it a lot again this time. I just thought it's one of those films that you have to, especially as well, because I made a ton of notes on this because it's the second time. Yeah. And you can see stuff coming, and it's finding it a bit easier to kind of... Yeah. The messages in it aren't on the surface so much as you have to let it sit with you and notice, like I bet I could bring some stuff of it, which obviously you haven't had long to think about it, but... I could bring some stuff up that no one else would have thought of, and someone else could bring up some stuff that I wouldn't thought of, and it's so dense that way. And it's also, like, to me, it's trying to pass on a message a lot throughout this film. So, like, that side of it, I kind of appreciate a lot. But I can see how people were, when it did kind of get nominated and won, there was a lot of, why is this nothing happened in this film? That kind of, like, pushback for it winning. And I just think you have to allow it to kind of affect you a bit more and let it sit in your head a bit more for it to really have the impact it deserves to have. So maybe just like pick, like, for example, just to give one point, I thought was the film was making a lot, which is about, especially towards the end, about forgiving his mum. Yeah. So just about, in general, I think there's a problem with people and their parents and not seeing them as people, seeing them as like some of these infallible creatures who are expected to get everything right in your life. And by the fact that he kind of was able to, despite the stuff he's been through, you know, we hear about, everybody hears about people with family troubles, which is the most inane rubbish. Yeah. And, like, just watching that can just be a message to you, just to make an effort not to, you know, he can forgive his mum for that. You just got to see him as a person and try and actually, like, connect with him on that kind of level. Yeah. And that's just one of the things that kind of, like, I noticed from it. So I do think there's a lot in there you can kind of take.
I like how deep you get. You go, like, fully into it. You look so concerned when you're writing notes.
Yeah, man. Because I know the film is going to be... There's going to be a lot of people who start to watch it and don't make it through. And there's going to be a lot of people who watch it and be like, well, nothing happened. What's the deal with this guy? This guy isn't a real whatever. Yeah. It's a very distinctive kind of character. And I just think, like, problems... Like, even... Do you notice them playing football with the rip ball? Yeah. See, that to me said a lot about, like... You know, you see ad campaigns for charities in Africa and stuff, and they're kicking a kickball around and things. Yeah. And you set that in your head for kind of real... like underdeveloped countries, whereas these are kids in America in the West in the 80s, and they were still in those conditions. Like, people think problems are fixed at home, because you want to live that way. Even with like homelessness in Manchester, again, this is getting so real, but like, rather than just pretending everything's fine nearby and thinking, oh, I'll give some charity to Africa if I get any money spare, like realizing you've got a local problem and actually trying to look into it and make an effect on it.
And you think this film was saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just from that one bit there, that's saying like, you know, people, and even like Juan having to be the mentor to the kid.
Yeah.
People, there isn't enough people who see these communities and actually make an effort to, because if you're a kid in that situation and you never see anything different, how can you ever grow up and be anything but continue in the cycle?
Yeah.
Like even when the Juan guy was trying to teach him and he told him to not put his chair, never have his back to the door.
Yeah.
That's obviously not something we would want to teach a kid, but he's teaching him the way he knows to survive and thrive in life, the only way he knows how. So even with him doing a good thing for him and looking after this kid, he's still kind of accidentally pushing him in a bad direction.
Yeah.
Because he's giving him the skills to live that lifestyle, because that's all he can do. So again, there's a lot to this film if you kind of...
It's hard to follow up on the points when you go so deep.
Yeah.
I was just going to say there's a moment where he actually stands up for himself and he smacks a guy that's been like bullying him with a chair. And that really stands out because in a way you kind of want him to be like, oh yeah, not grow some balls, that's like...
Yeah.
You want him to stand up for himself and be able to be who he is, and he ends up beating on this guy and he gets arrested, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But at the same time, should you really want him in your mind to beat up this guy and go to the same level he's on?
See, one of the reasons I liked it for Best Picture, did you notice there was a few occasions of like mirroring or repeated shots? I do think it was really kind of interestingly made. So there's a few times where, like with that scene, beforehand he's in the sink, he washes his face. He starts with him leaned over the sink with his back. And then he kind of leans up, washes his face, look in the mirror. And then it cuts to the future guy, and he's obviously now like super like gym freak and like looks like a different person, grills on and everything, but it starts with him in the sink, kind of like muscly as hell this time, but then like he sits up, stares at himself. And to me that's just like that first mirror scene signifies when he decided, you know, I'm not going to let this world I'm not going to let myself be pushed around anymore. And it just rock bottom, he wasn't going to let anything more go on. And then he talks about when he went to prison in Atlanta, he built himself from the ground up. Like that was very... And did you notice all the details of how he built himself? Is that he built himself to be Juan, because that was the only role model he had. He had his car, he dressed like him, he looked like him, like everything was about being that guy. And it's just like the impact you can have if anybody actually pays attention to those kids in those situations at those age, like it's massive.
Do you think it's a good thing that he tried to be like him?
I just see, I can see why, because it's all he knew. Like he never had a better role model, so how else can he know how to follow and make his way?
Exactly.
And that guy was good to him, and he didn't have to be. In the way he could. And like that's also just a sign. I think people don't give credit to those communities for, you know, all these kind of poor, real depraved communities. There is an internal like looking out for each other and a justice system and a like no one else is going to come in and look after that kid. It took a guy inside dealing drugs to do it. And that was, and all he could do was kind of push him in that direction.
Sorry.
It's alright. No. So what do you think the best part of the film was?
Anything that wasn't in the last third of it.
Did you not like the stuff with Kev?
No.
I can see why. There was only little details of stuff with Kev I thought was really good.
Yeah, I feel like, because basically he ends up being on a beach with his best friend, doesn't he? And they end up kissing, and other stuff happens.
Hashtag Sam job.
Hey.
To say it.
I wanted to say
You can't
it.
take credit for that.
I will give you full credit for that.
At Sophie.
No. And then you find out towards the end that he's never had any other experiences other than that, so he's got this kind of attachment to him. So even though he gets beaten up by him at school, and was that the last time we saw each other? Or wasn't it?
Yeah.
He still had that need to go back.
They didn't count it as that when they were talking.
No.
They said, "Do you remember the last time you saw me?" And they counted it as that night on the beach.
Yeah.
I also just thought as well, like there was real. Do you know the scene when Kevin was talking to that bully? It was just that Kevin kid learned how to be a survivor a lot earlier. He learned how to side with him, and he did that by being a crazy guy. And it's just you have to at the end in those worlds, you have to put yourself first, and you have to make sure you can survive. And that was the way he did it. Even when he was talking to Kevin, just towards the end, did you notice he used the Kevin character? He's who's basically goes in the future. He's not to give much away, but he's a chef. And that doesn't really give anything away. He uses the past tense though to describe his life. So he says like I've he talks about I've never done what I actually wanted to do. I've never been able to. I've just always got by. And the fact that he talks in the past tense, even though he's only maybe 30 to me, like that said a lot as well. That his life, he had a chance at his life. It's already over. He's got a kid. He's got the job. He's been in jail. So any chance he had to make everything better for himself is gone.
Yeah.
So he's just resigned to it. And that was just in that tense
That's
choice.
an interesting way to say it, though, because at the same time, he does say those things, but he seems happy enough with that, because he's like, this is what I've got now. I've actually got something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's accepted it, and he's built out, like, his house is nice and tidy, even if it is small. Like, he's got pride in the way he lives. He's got pride in he's got a job. He's got pride in the fact that he's a good kid to his like child, and he's in a decent terms with the mum. So there's a lot of that. I thought as well, like, it was interesting at the start with them never acknowledging the sand job incident, because it was like, has Kevin repressed it? Has he forgotten it? And like, I thought it was a sign of his development as a character, Chiron, that he actually brought up that he'd never been with anyone since or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have been strong enough to do that if it had been the second chapter, third chapter guy.
I didn't think he was going to at all.
Yeah,
so I was
really
really
didn't
happy
think
that he
I
did.
forgot he brought it up.
Yeah. So I really like the. I did much prefer the part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
I wish Mahershala. I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Absolutely Mr. Allen. I wish that he was in the film more.
Yeah.
I think he is a fantastic actor. Just quickly, sorry, I did want to bring this up, and it seems like I'm trying to make like a whole thing of it. I'm not.
Okay.
Just because the whole thing last year was there was a whole point made about black people not being recognised enough in film, and then like there was this whole boycott, backlash, everything to do
Oscars
with
so
that.
white thing.
Yeah, and with him winning, not that he doesn't deserve it, but do you think he deserved Best Supporting Actor? Because
I understand what you're saying.
like
Was it a response to the movement? Like,
Yeah.
we'll give him a few awards this year.
because
that'll shut
it's not
people
just
up.
that as well. He's also a Muslim, so he's also one of the first. I think he's
He's
the first Muslim,
yeah.
Who's won the award as well. So it's like, did they just kind of do that to tick it over, or
Well, to be fair, we can have a conversation about. So, do you know those other Best Supporting Actors I named before? I don't know if you guys have seen those films, but do any of those jump out at you as much more deserving?
We'll jump to you because I don't know who any of those are.
Because the thing is, like, I can see why some people would think this might be a bit of a response to the Oscars so white, no black nominees the year before at all, I think. So I think that was a big part of the wanting to take it away from Moonlight, but I also think it was a weak year.
Yeah. What I'll say is, I don't think I can have that conversation yet because I'm not fully
seen them all.
Yeah, so I can't give like a unbiased opinion. I thought he did a really good job. I'm just kind of opening up to whether you think that is the case or not.
It could have factored into the thinking, we'll kind of like it'll stop with all the heat we're getting if we kind of do a bit of this. But
I still thought he was really good though.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
really
I
did
thought,
shape that film.
Mhm.
And his mannerisms and stuff just made it more of a likeable character. So I don't think it would have been because of that.
All right, fair enough. I just wanted to see what you guys thought. But I really liked the way that the first act, we'll call it, kind of built everything up to show you how the world is. I thought it was really great world building and like setting the tone with the characters and getting to understand what the situation is like. I thought that was beautifully done. Also, it was very beautifully shot.
Yeah. The
which I
light,
loved.
the use of light was really
Yeah.
good. Did you notice a lot of the stuff with light?
Yeah.
There was a ton of stuff they played around with the light, with Juan being there and the kid being there and the mum being there and stuff.
See, I didn't like the shots and stuff. There's like when someone got into the car and the camera went with the door.
Oh,
and
that was interesting.
I really
yeah.
didn't like the way it kind of pulls me back out of it.
That one did a little bit because I was like, that's interesting. But like, I just thought it was a nice little way to maybe transition as well.
Did you guys guess? This is good. This is a genuine spoiler. So, do we want to do this?
Yeah. Go on.
All right. Well, genuine spoiler. Did you guys guess that the kid was gay before his mum had the talk with the drug dealer with Juan?
Yes.
I guessed it from when he was asking about, am I a faggot?
So that
when
was
he
after.
was a kid.
I'm talking about the scene. Do you know where the mum's in the car and she has the shouting match with Juan, the drug dealer, and she goes, "Do you see the way he walks? Do you see whatever?"
Ah,
Did you get? Do you not even get it from that bit?
No, I didn't get it from that bit.
Fair enough.
No,
Really?
that just went over my
See,
head.
that bit was really powerful to me because Mum always realised Mum had realised he was gay. So that first off is an interesting discussion about when does sexuality manifest itself? Is it something in our genes because she could tell from he was that age, or is it how is it bodily? How does it manifest
Or it could
itself
just be
bodily?
like a mother's thing. They usually
Can they tell? Yeah.
But
And then as well the fact that she'd I think that's a big part in why the fact do you remember the second time Juan brought him home? she didn't pay him any attention. She didn't shout at him. She didn't tell him off. She just got him in the house and went back in the back room.
Yeah.
Because in her eyes, he's worthless to her. Because in that community, a gay kid's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah.
So that kind of side of it was real kind of sad to me. And I didn't pick up on the fact that he was gay until she had that argument with him.
See, I kind of shouldn't assume, because I know people, like, kids call other kids whatever all the time, but that first sort of scene when he was running and the kids were shouting that he was a faggot when he was running then, I thought they might have been able to tell that he was a bit curious or whatever, and that's why they're picking on him. Not just because he's, like, small or weak or whatever. I thought they might have
Sent something different. Yeah, because kids can tell that kind of thing.
That's annoying, that now, because I'm like, of course I should have picked it up then, but I didn't at all. Also, just a quick little shout out to Kev. Young Kev.
Young Kev. You're not very young, Kev. Kev, mortgage Kev.
The fact that the 8-year-old Kev looked older than the
14-year-old Kev.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Great little character.
It was.
Yeah, I think that was. I really like the teenage years as well. I just don't think the later years, like Act 3, Black, I think it was called.
Yeah.
I just don't think that was as well done or was as well acted. I don't know, just something about it didn't really.
I don't think it was well acted.
I thought it was really well acted. See, that's the thing.
Really?
That guy was really good. Really good.
I thought
when
he was
in,
good
like,
as Chiron.
Yeah.
And it's even more interesting in how, like, obviously they didn't see how all the other people acted either, so you can see, like, the way that the character comes up, because we were talking about the way that he eats food.
Yeah.
He ate food the same way
the kid did.
Yeah.
And when he did, like, do you know, when he was on the phone to Kev, when he kind of got a bit vulnerable, he did certain, like, stuff, like acting stuff, which was very similar to what the younger actors had done, just to show vulnerability. So just the fact that they'd all seen, you know, I guess it's like even as black people, like, there's a face you have to put on to be masculine that you'd learn how to do.
Yeah.
But when it breaks, they know what that break looks like. And the fact that all the kind of, like, they went in similar directions with it is real telling to me.
Yeah.
But I definitely think the third act tells the least overall.
Yeah.
But I do like the guy who does it. I think he's good. And the interactions with him and Kev are strange, but deliberately. Like, there's this about an energy that the two of them jumped immediately back into.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting to think with people, it doesn't matter what changes we make. If you suddenly see somebody that you know when you knew from 10 years before, whatever, you go back into the same dynamic you have, and you go back into the same, regardless of what else has changed about you.
Yeah.
So it was cool how kind of, like, efficiently that was done and how effectively that was.
I was going to ask you about the ending, but that's part of the 5-star movie review, so I'll leave that for the actual.
Is that a great little segue we want to move on to?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right. The 5-star movie review. I need to get, like, an intro for this.
You do.
But basically,
Did you just go da-da to start doing
it? We give 5 questions out to ask about we ask 5 questions of this movie. If we all agree the answer is yes, it gets a star. The aim is to get 5 stars. The best we've ever given is 4.5 stars, so we're not actually that bad at giving ratings, although I feel really bad for The Shining still. Shall we go?
Sure.
Alright, so question number 1. Does the story make any sense?
Yes.
Just follows the path of that kid, life he has. Kind of like it all kind of follows on.
And I always thought it was really intriguing, because you're always interested to see what was in between those years as well. And it was nice to kind of pick up on this moment specifically as well.
Yeah,
that's just me talking.
And
about
like how they filled in the gaps and what they didn't feel the need to fill in. Like the third one, they had to fill in the most because the most can happen between 14 and 24, and he changed the most between that.
Yeah.
So that was when he's like, I went to Atlanta, whatever. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But,
okay, so we get 1 star.
Yeah.
Did the film have a good ending? So we can talk about the ending now.
So how did it end again?
Oh yeah.
Well, it ended with the like it was a shot towards the moon, wasn't it? But it was just before.
Oh, it was
that.
the kid stood on the beach looking out the water, and then he turned back.
Yeah.
And it was just him looking back behind him.
See, I really didn't like that. But again, I felt like this film could have ended 20, 30 minutes before it actually did.
See, I do think there's something that scene was trying to say, which I've not got.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a bit worried to say that, because like, there's definitely some imagery in some point he's trying to make with going back to the kid at 8 and have him like staring over his shoulder stood whilst the sea's there, and obviously the sea's a theme as well, and water and kind of so. I do kind of think, no, like, it's gone over all of our heads to a certain
Yeah,
degree, what the
really.
ending was actually trying to say. And I don't know whether that's our fault or the piece's fault for not making it clear enough, or not even anybody's fault. It's just it didn't resonate so much.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can see, I wouldn't feel strong enough to campaign you guys over across to giving the star if you're not
No.
sure of it yourselves.
See, I want to try and take it into context of the scene that was building up to that one shot, which was him kind of coming to terms with Kevin, spoiler alert, and you just kind of see them be together, and it's like, okay, well, he's kind of closed this chapter of his life, which I thought was alright. I thought it was like a nice kind of closing off point, because everything that was a drama before that point, because he's kind of not ended things, but, you know, he's gone off ways with his mum, like he's kind of made that up. He's got like amended this with Kevin as well, because he didn't really care about anyone else. The only person I wish I would have seen more in the film, which is a completely different point, sorry, just to go off of Teresa.
I love Teresa.
Yeah.
Right, that was...
Back in.
I didn't even need to go into
I
it.
know.
Yeah, I wish he'd played more of a role in that, but
Yeah.
especially considering he seemed quite close with her.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from that. Yeah, he seemed to kind of have all these bits checked off about himself, and he was ready to go into like a new life, or maybe that's
Or
that's
just
what I
like
was
his
getting for.
perspective's a lot more open. Like, did you notice that even though he was even in this future where he's the head drug guy, he's still hiding his sexuality because he's talking with the guy in his car about bitches and shit. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's double swear. but yeah, he so clearly, like, maybe this is a point where he's going to be more open with himself,
Yeah.
because I think it's all about his journey with himself emotionally, and kind of just what he's, I don't know, I can't really see what it's saying with him looking back. It's almost like he's looked out on the water and seen all of this kind of, he's just thought all this ahead, and then is it Juan behind him? Like, is he looking at a person, or is he just,
Well,
is it out of
there's
city?
obviously the scene when he was sort of Juan was holding him in the water, wasn't it? And he said
Yeah.
that,
It's
you
like
know,
you're in
that's
the
your
middle of
space. Yeah, and I think because he teaches him that you're the one that's going to decide who you're going to be. And because he returned to that and he's looking out at that water, at that space, he's deciding that he's now going to be open about his sexuality. He's
Especially
now
with all the
accepting-
movement, like he came together with his mum, with Kevin as well. Like he's tied up a lot of those ends.
Yeah.
So maybe it is going back. He's what, like, it kind of says to me the motivation for all that development he has made is just entirely from Quan paying the attention to him,
Yeah.
and caring about him and trying to push him in a good direction. So I think it's like he's seeing who he is now, and he's looking back at the kid he was then, and, you know, the person who's had that influence on him, and kind of just being aware of the development he's made and the credit he has to give.
Yeah. So
And I think it's deliberately
Oh, sorry.
anticlimactic as well. Sorry to jump in.
No, that's all right.
Like, it would be like, that's not the kind of film that builds to a big, you know, twist ending or a big dramatic ending. It's just, he's just going to keep on, it wouldn't be true to life. Like, he's just going to keep on pushing through life and keep on, you know, trying to look forward and trying to deal with all the stuff that's been through, like he's been through.
Yeah, I was gonna petition for the star, because I don't think it was a particularly bad ending. Maybe it's something that's we've kind of got to.
I would still want to
uncode
give
a
it the
little bit
scar.
more.
The
Yeah.
star. What do you think, Scar?
We'll give it the scar.
Yeah, I'll go with it, but
I mean, we can maybe give it half if you don't think it's quite there, but
no, because it's still 2 of you against me, isn't it? So it'd still be the full star. I understand why you'd want to give it the star, just
I don't mind knocking down half a star, because although I feel like I don't want to be overly harsh, because if we didn't specifically get it and it's not resonated with us yet, and then we give it like a
yeah.
half star
We'll
less,
give it the star.
All right, yeah, we'll give it the star. So that's 2 stars. That was a nice little thing about the ending there. Did you think they were believable characters?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
you can tell they were written from real people, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like, it was from a book written about 20 years ago about the kid's experiences. He's the director threw a lot of his own life in there
Yeah.
with the no white people and his mum and stuff like that. So you can tell it's real. I think that's one of the most powerful things about it is, you know, even with the character, like the amount of things that kid's got going on, you wouldn't make up. Like, it'd be hard to make up something like that.
So yeah,
So the full star.
3 stars.
Yeah.
Did the film achieve diegetic absorption? Were you absorbed into watching the film?
Yes, it's always going to be hard from the cinema when you're like forced to
Yeah.
think it, because the amount of times that I've just sort of like fidgeting or I was playing with a pencil, and there were moments where I just sort of dropped from it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you just attribute that to being at home rather than being in the cinema? Like, do you think if you watched that in the cinema, you wouldn't have lost track of it, lost interest at any point?
Yeah, I don't think I would have, like...
Well, it was totally unpredictable, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you didn't know where it was going to go next,
yeah.
or who was going to go next, or who was going to talk to, or how anyone was going to react.
Yeah.
Like, it did definitely have that going for it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody saw it as like, oh no, this is going to end
Yeah.
with him being a jacked. Like, not to give away the whole thing again.
He
but
was
yeah.
super jacked.
It was a bit of a... Well, the director talked about when he first came in to audition, like, at first glance, he was like, nope, this guy isn't the same kid, this isn't going to work. And then, like, he saw him read, and he was like, there was some vulnerability, emotional stuff he could do that, and I thought, like, that, what's the word, like, kind of juxtaposed with his actual change in being made it even more effective, that, like, this guy's crafted this person to be the person he needs to be in the world he's in.
Yeah.
But he's still the same kid, he's still the same insecure, whatever kid dealing with those things deep down. And the actor could kind of portray that. So that's why I think I give the last actor a lot of credit. Because in my eyes, he had a lot to do to make the person he is coincide with the kid he was going from.
Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because, like, I don't imagine many actors, like, if you put Terry Crews in there, no offence to Terry Crews, but I don't think he could believably be that same kid.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy, maybe it's the fact it's an unknown as well, but he also kind of had the ability and the range to pull off that internal struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Full
4
stars?
stars, yeah.
Yep, can't remember what that star's for again.
Digest.
Oh yeah, cool. I really should
Yeah.
remember that. We've done it like 9 times. All right, cool.
Yeah. And the last one.
And the last question is, did the movie change you as a person?
See, I really feel like we can campaign for. I can campaign
feel
for
like
this
it could as
because
well.
just what it gave you was such a, like, real enveloping look at a different life, like a completely different life and way of growing up and set of beliefs and circumstances. And I just think it does such a great job of, like, letting anybody feel that and get involved with that and truly, like, understand the journey of this kid. So I think in the way it did that, if you're open to that, you can learn a lot about kind of, you know, what the human experience and the struggles everyone deals with, and ways we can kind of, you know, like, just be a lot more observant about people and things that come from, like, you might see that guy in his 3rd stage and you would never guess that, you know, he was aggressively bullied and constantly at odds with himself. And there's a lot of kind of, like, I don't know, for me it's just a be more interested in people type things, that side of it. Like, we don't know anybody walking on the street could have the most incredible story.
But is that something that you apply to your own life?
I mean, like, it's something you try and do, isn't it? Like, you try and be more open to people. Because I have a bit of a problem with, like, just in general being antisocial and just being like, you don't seem like you're going to be an interesting person for me, so I'm just going to immediately rule you out. Whereas I know it's not fair, and it's probably right, like, 90% of the time, just to generalise with people, because it's just like, well, I know you're going to have nothing in common with me. I know you're not, but, like, the fact we could all try and learn from other people and all try and have a bit more empathy about other cultures and experiences. Like, we see kids growing, like, see him as a drug dealer then, you see now, like, the full journey. When else did he have an opportunity to be anybody else? Like, when was there anybody on his side, or truly, like, it's not like, you know, you see those, because those kind of films annoy me where, like, you know, I don't know, like, random movie people go in and, like, teach people to dance in a city ghetto kids, or, like, teach them how to debate. Like, Denzel Washington did one where he went in and took inner city kids to debate, and it's like, the problems aren't dealt with that easily. Like, you're not just happy to talk about it. You're not just going to be like, oh, I've got a team now, all of that trauma's dealt with. Like, it's just a more honest view on people. So I think people in general could watch this and learn a lot and try and be more open in general. So that's my big ass pitch for this film getting
And you're
a star.
supporting that pitch, yeah?
Yeah, kind of. Because it shows more just of a truthful way and more realistic way of how people kind of deal with stuff. It's like, you know, you see this journey of this kid, and you can see, like, the rage and kind of anger and depression also with everything that he's in with his situation, not just with the bullying, but also with his mum being a drug addict. Sorry, I couldn't say that one. But these are all issues people kind of have to go through, and usually in these, in films that try to depict this, it's quite over dramatic in the way that they, like, you know, it's a whole thing and they have to go to rehab, sort of like this. This kid's just getting on with life.
That's what everyone, that's what you have
Which
to do,
is what
isn't it?
most people kind of do anyway, and it's quite refreshing to see, really.
Yeah, and the mum's not a villain. It's just who she, like, because obviously she tries to make amends later on.
Yeah.
But even at the time, you know, she's still not a villain. She's just trying to survive through her own life, and that's what he kind of comes to terms with. And he knows everybody's got their own, and like that's how he forgives her. Is how I saw it, and that's like a good kind of thing to take from it.
Like in the same way that we saw, we gave the half star to The Bone, is because it could kind of help teach people ways about a different way of seeing life and different problems and stuff and how to deal with it. I feel like this kind of does the same thing.
I'd say this does it better. Quite comfortably. Like, To The Bone is very specific as well, so it's easy to be like, just anorexia. Not easy just to be... That did not come off sounding very good. But I mean, like, it's easier to talk about one experience when it's that specific.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, it tends to be middle class or above white girls who kind of actively do it out of those same kind of identity issues and stuff, whereas just being a black person is one side of it, but this is... I think I much prefer when a film or a book goes very individual and it's like, I'm gonna pick this one person and we're gonna really go deep on the way they think, rather than trying to do a general message like let's all be not like just. I think that side of it's a lot more effective.
Yeah, definitely.
So a petition for the half star?
Yeah, I'd...
Full star?
No,
mainly
because
it didn't affect you specifically in that way.
No, because I can come out of it and understand the reasoning. But at the same time, I don't think I'm going to actively go out and approach people and just in life. I'm not a very sociable person.
But we're good for the half star.
Half star,
we'll
yeah.
get the half star.
Sweet. All right. Which...
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm happy to give stuff big star ratings. I mean, we've had such shit.
I'm hoping as well, because we have just watched it. I'm hoping this is the film that's going to be like, you know, a couple of days on, you'll find yourself thinking about it and you might realise it's had more effect than you think. Because obviously that star changes you as a person. It's a real high standard, but even just like having some small effect on the way of your thinking or something, I think can have a, you know, it's good when cinema does that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I also think black cinema does it a lot. Like Fruitvale Station had a real effect on me. Like those kind of the messages that you can convey are a lot kind of. And when black people do get to make films, it seems like they're such open and honest and like individualistic filmmakers.
Yeah.
That it is kind of does a lot better at just putting you into somebody's world. So we're giving it the half. 4.5 stars.
We'll give it the 4.5, and I think that's a beautiful way to end this. Oh no.
All right, so Moonlight came out in 2016 for the 2017 Oscars. The other films that were nominated for Best Picture that year are Hacksaw Ridge. Andrew Garfield played a soldier in that one. It was a Mel Gibson film. Manchester by the Sea was the Casey Affleck one. Fences, Denzel Washington did that one based off a play, him and Viola Davis. La La Land, you know. Arrival's the space one. Lion with Dev Patel. Hell or High Water. So many nominations, by the way. It's got worse now. Now there's like 11 or something stupid.
It's ridiculous.
And Hidden Figures, which was the Black Women NASA one.
Yeah.
So I would say it's a kind of weaker year, I think. This is why I think, you know, with the Best Supporting Actor and stuff, it seems like 2016 wasn't the best year in cinema. La La Land dominated a lot. Manchester by the Sea got a fair few. The ones I see that being a major competitor for is... I feel like La La Land got a lot, and it was well made, but I don't know if it's the best picture. Maybe Manchester by the Sea, but again, I don't think that was particularly the best picture.
Didn't that get Best Director?
Yeah, I think it was very well directed. I think it was amazingly acted, and I think obviously the writer's a genius, so maybe the script. And this one actually won Best Adapted Screenplay as well, the Barry Jenkins one. And that's interesting because it's barely an adapted screenplay. Like, it's from a book that came out ages ago, which kind of just tells a few different stories, I think, and then the director spun a load of himself in. But just speaking about those films, there was also some notable absentees as well, like Nocturnal Animals, Hail Caesar, Jackie, Sully, Silence, Loving. But it was a strange year in cinema. Yeah. And just thinking about, we were going to have a chat about whether we thought it was deserving anything else we would have pitched ahead of it, but to be honest, none of us really particularly had anything we thought was much more deserving that we could make a strong case for.
No.
I'd say mainly more because we've not actually seen anything.
Yeah.
So it's like something we can't really comment upon.
Yeah, we couldn't like definitively say it, but even off the sound of them, or any of those, do you think would be a lot better to you? Again, I know that's super up in the air. I can see, you know, Nocturnal Animals, the one directed by, what's it called, Tom Ford. I can see how that maybe had a case, but that didn't even get nominated. That was snubbed.
Oh.
So maybe there's sometimes situations as well where they say if it's going to be nominated, it'll win, but it's probably not going to get nominated. And I think that might be one of those kind of films.
Mm.
But yeah, in the future, maybe when we do these go back ones, we'll make a case for films.
Yeah.
That
I
we've
think
seen.
if we all just sit down and have a little look at like a specific year that we feel
strong, films we liked.
then we'll do this as like a little segment, because I'd love to get into that.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be good to give a bit of background of just what other films came out that year that were big, and just maybe like if people at home have seen any of them jump out of them as better films. Felt it was undeserved because it was a bit of a controversial win.
Yeah.
And with the whole La La Land episode that they had.
Oh God.
So it was a strange one. But I'm absolutely behind it.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely worth watching, and worth watching again as well.
Yeah.
Thinking about.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, like hitting home and then thinking about different things that happened in the film.
Yeah, because you usually find that about films, don't you? It's like,
I'll
think
come out
about
of
it a couple of days later, or I'll show you something, you'll be like, nah, that wasn't that good. And then a couple of days later, you'll be like, that was really good.
Yeah, that's happened on those. Role Models was one of them. We watched a film and I was like, that's alright. And like a week later, I was like, you know what? That was such a good film.
Yeah, I can never tell walking straight out of the cinema or whatever. It takes a while, or not never, but unless it's really obvious.
Just the contrast from like Moonlight
to
to Role Models.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Role Models. Though.
I was thinking more when you say like Pulp Fiction. 94 would be a good year for this.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
I
And yeah, my birth.
Yeah.
And mine.
The world had a great year.
Yeah, bloody great year. At the same, it was the Forrest Gump, Jurassic Park, Pulp Fiction, and Shawshank Redemption were all in the cinema at the same time in 1994.
What one?
Best Picture, Pulp Fiction.
Was it?
Are you sure?
I thought it was Forrest Gump.
Oh no, it was Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
I've already seen that.
Yeah.
So maybe we just watch a different film.
Yeah, we'll look back in the years. It's fine. We can do that whenever.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I still reckon Pulp Fiction's better than Forrest Gump. Anyway.
Do you?
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's like
let's
Argo one a
move
few
on.
years ago, but we'll talk about that and I'll slag it off.
Oh yeah, 2012 was a good year for stuff. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. So thank you very much for listening. If you've got this far,
Do you want to do your
people
t-shirt
do.
thing?
Yeah, no. Oh yeah. Also, I wanted to end the whole 5-star thingy, and there was sand jobs, so that means we can give it the half.
Did we give it the extra half? The sand job takes it to 5.
Yeah, if anyone puts a comment of sand job, I will make a custom T-shirt and send it to you.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to say sand job on the t-shirt.
No,
if you
it
don't
does.
want.
It
Does it
does.
have to?
Definitely does.
Does it have to?
Yeah.
Alright, that's fine. It's going to be like an
Alright.
11-year-old girl winning it, and we're going to feel real grim.
Alright, so you can visit wehaveatripod.com to learn about who we are and what we do, because I've got some brand new stuff to put on there, and I've been rejigging some stuff, and it's great, so people can actually go and look at some stuff now.
Yes.
Well, not yet. Wait till next week.
Calm down,
But
people.
still, yeah.
Don't run to your computers too quick.
Yeah.
Computers? Alright, whatever.
Head over. Well, you're already here. You're already here on YouTube. Go check out some other stuff that we do. Head over to SoundCloud if you want to download some other stuff as well. Yeah, I've been Matt Lister. I need a better outro.
Your energy just dropped off a cliff there. It was just like, so glad I've been Matt Lister. I've been a Delanois. Should we just end that way?
I didn't say that.
Pretend it's like a super like NPR thing.
Okay, so I've been Matt Lister.
I've been a Delanois.
I've been so fearless.
And we have been What Pictures.
Hey, you did it right.
Yeah.
And this has been
Tripod Talk. See ya.
Very
Night.
smart. Night?
Yeah, I say that a lot.
Are you tired? Do you just want
Instead of saying bye to people, I'll just say night now. I don't know where it started from.
It does at some point.
I don't know, but I don't know why.
Mm.
It'll like go to work and I'm like, night.
It did put me in a slightly good mood. Like, oh, is it nearly bedtime?
The day's over.
Yay!
God, it's 5 past 5.
I better stop pressing record.
Yeah.